Grass. After huffing enough internet, we all need a handful. It beggars belief that our favorite video game protagonist can live in a digital world without the genuine article. Living in a FromSoft-fueled hellscape is punishment enough. Today, we shall provide a grossly incandescent beacon of hope to our grass-deficient undead, hunters, and tarnished. Our goal is to touch grass as fast as possible in every modern FromSoft game. But not merely dabble a pinky toe against the paltry scraps. No! We must fully immerse our very soul by drenching the blades with our bloodstain. Oh yes, we must perish within our patches of pleasure with due haste, ensuring the stain is fully immersed within the green goodness. Now, you may think this challenge insane, or worse, mundane. And to you, dear viewer, I ask, would a sane person arbitrarily create 7 meme speedrun categories to simultaneously claim every uncontested world record in the franchise, solely so he could make a video out of how ludicrously strategic and serious he took every step of the journey? I think not. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Soulsborne series Touch Grass Speedrun. Our journey begins in the lifeless land of Boletaria, decay being a thematic mainstay of the franchise that made finding lush grass a pain in the ass. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, isn't this game famous for being laden with so much pocket grass, you could create your own football field? Right you are, but the speedrun is soul into grass, not grass into your soul. Similarly, the tutorial isn't what we're looking for. While it may have grass early on, it lacks the ability to return and confirm your bloodstain's position for a valid run. This leaves our search forced into 1-1, Boletarian Palace. Storming a castle isn't exactly my idea of nature. Right off the bat, you'll find loads of haystacks you can pop a squad in, kicking off a very important heated debate on what is grass? Most viewers said it counted as dehydrated grass. To that I say, objection! If a cucumber becomes a pickle when left in liquid, sucking the liquid out of grass makes it an entirely new object.
Yes, science!
No hay today, grass only we must obey. Now, there is a field almost immediately upon entry to the level, but it's inaccessible without a time-consuming dip into world tendency. Deep into the level, you could get roasted in the dragon's nest, but I found an even better spot. Helpless Ostrava did us a kindness by kiting the undead hordes onto a gold mine of greenery. Simply bolt past every enemy until the blue night guard in the fog, bait the thrust, down the stairs, and use the obscure vault mechanic to drop in and say, hello. Take your eternal rest in the bonfire and time. Or so you'd think. FromSoft, in their infinite wisdom, decided it would be too harsh to penalize the player for a quick death, placing their bloodstain back roughly 10 seconds before their demise. I know, because we did a half dozen runs testing the timing. So we must awkwardly dance between the mindless mobs for 10 seconds to ensure we don't drop our load on Ostrava instead of the opulent 4K texture grass below. An optimal run doesn't solely rely on busting a move in the final hour though. You need to show your jukes throughout the long sprint to Ostrava's Rave Cave. Enemies in this game have unpredictable AI, sometimes choosing to cooperate and usher you to the finish line, and sometimes becoming a bunch of bouncers of world record pace. After dozens of runs for the best mixture of RNG and the perfect 10-second boogie in our grave, we successfully touch grass within 1 minute and 44 seconds. Surely the next game will be faster, right? Unlike its Boletarian cousin, Dark Souls tutorial is mandatory. With only sad patches of grass amidst rocky ground, escaping to Firelink is our only hope. Of course, we're trading the many mobs of the palace for one massive monster. Thankfully, I can lean on my Dark Souls speedrunning mastery to recall the pro strats here. Take the black firebombs and erupt the 4th of July on his bodacious breadbasket. You can use this pile of rubble as a reference point to wind up an early throw, a mandatory effort to get off all 3 bombs before being flattened. Roll with ease and chuck 2 more to proceed. Sadly, besting the beast isn't enough to escape. You need Oscar's keys. Bolt toward the archer who loves to body block the exit and give him a little love tap. Activate the boulder and don't get rolled over. Listen to Oscar's sob story.
Take this.
And now, keys in hand, put them in the Raven's ignition en route to our verdant shrine. Now, you may suspect, like me, that pissing off Sir Perry's a lot is going to be the quickest path to blooding his lawn. Instead, make way for Artorias in the abyss. Like Demon Souls, we found 10 seconds was a sweet spot here to ensure it wasn't left on the stone steps, or worse, back in the asylum. Yes, if you somehow managed to die within 10 seconds of reaching Firelink, your bloodstain was nowhere to be found. With adept optimization, we brought our journey to a short 2-minute climax. Speaking of 2, perhaps the meaty sequel can succeed in speed where its predecessors have slogged. If you're familiar with the B-Team stepchild of the series, you'll know that grass is only a cutscene skip away. Waking outside the cackling witch's cottage, we couldn't have asked for easier graccess. I should be thanking the convention shirking of DS2, lacking the kind of foresight of the 10-second rule. The covetous demon of trilogy length became the undisputed champion of grass percent. Within 8 seconds, we not only frolicked the fields, but base jumped off of them with no such grace period. Never let it be said that Dark Souls 2 isn't the best at something. If your own lawn needs the best grooming available, check out today's sponsor, Manscaped. They sent me their Performance Package 4.0 with everything you need from top to literal bottom. It all starts with the Lawnmower 4.0, a cordless, waterproof trimmer to landscape even the most delicate areas. When you have the complexion of a shag carpet like me, a quality trimmer that gets the job done quickly and smoothly like the lawnmower is vital. Also included is a Crop Preserver liquid deodorant and the Crop Reviver toner spray to keep you at your freshest. They've even got you covered out of the bathroom with free anti-chafing boxer briefs and a travel bag to carry your tools worldwide. Go to manscaped.com today to get 20% off plus free international shipping with my promo code on screen. Oh, Ashen One. Good luck finding life in this desolate, ashen, oh, there's some right there. Aggro a duo of undead from Menage a Trois dagger devastation into lightning fast ass on grass. Sad to say there wasn't much nuance in these two journeys, perhaps it's a side effect of growing graphical advancements. Okay, let's turn back the release clock to the dark horse amidst the trilogy. I think we might have dialed back the clock a little bit too far. No, now we've overcorrected. For now. Give me the 2014 gothic horror masterpiece that doesn't have the fancy bells and whistles of the overflowing modern flora. Perfection. Coming into this challenge, this was the game I feared the most. Not for its frightful trappings, the real terror was the mystery as to where in this Victorian-inspired Yarnum we'd be finding a big enough grass patch. Much to my dismay, this conundrum was quickly solved by a detective in chat, offering an obscure skip to Yusefka's back door. Assuring me the location was quite desirable to lay down and die in, our sights became set on this glitch. You see, at game start, Yusefka denies you entry to her clinic. This requires you to brave the Forbidden Woods underground toxic wasteland to sneak in. Atop a ladder Metal Gear Solid 3 would blush at, you pull a lever opening a shortcut to your spawn point. Behind this barrier lies a paltry yet acceptable meadow to accomplish our mission. This traditionally lacks viability when you consider A, you need to kill at a minimum Father Gascoigne, Cleric Beast, or Bloodstarved Beast, and Vicar Amelia, to say nothing of the extensive levels to reach them. And B, there are a half dozen viable spots on that path, making this only worthwhile if you could somehow pass through the gate in the opening minutes. Cue our friendly neighborhood werewolf swinging to the rescue. With the right luck and very precise positioning, the wolf's grab and subsequent escape animation can override the blockade, freeing you to pillage Yusefka's garden. However, if you spend any time dancing with wolves, you'll know they're erratic, high damaging, and do anything but cooperate. There is a way to trick the wolf's inconsistent AI into grabbing you in the desired location, but to do it quickly requires flawless evasion so you have enough health to survive his attempted feast. And while running to the gate, dodging to the right, running to the specific spot in the circle to bait grab 1, then positioning in the perfect spot at the gate relative to where you baited him so the angle is perfect is consistent in theory. In reality, the margin for error is sky high. In the handful of runs this set of attack RNG goes according to script, you're left at the mercy of this unpredictable bloodlust. Sometimes swiggity swooty, he's right up in your booty. Other times he will painfully waste time by speculating your next move while strafing back and forth as the clock ticks on and on and on. That is even if he follows you out of the damn clinic. Sometimes his rotting meal is more alluring than this.
I missed the part where that's my problem.
In a nutshell, you rely on random behavior from the wolf to respect your time, then operate within a razor-thin execution to boundary break in the rare case that he does, and that's only to have a chance at splattering Yusefka's lawn with your soul. In all the bluster about the big bad wolf, we've neglected our executioner. This is a blessing and a curse. We needed a way to quickly perish, so an enemy in close proximity was vital. There's just two small concerns. They have the longest death animation in the entire game if they suck your cerebellum. Kiting and hoping for the right attack is another layer of luck in an already unfortunate run, but the bigger issue is unique to Bloodborne. Your brain isn't the only thing getting the suck. Enemies have a chance to consume your bloodstain upon death, requiring them to be defeated to reclaim your lost bounty. The latter hardly matters in our case, but siphoning our bloodstain away from the sparse grass that is difficult enough to properly splatter is the final nail in an inconsistent coffin. The amount of things we need to go right in order not only to be successful, but to do it with speed is alarming. I spent more attempts against these odds than the rest of the games in this challenge combined. So many runs lost to a blasé wolf positioning a bee's dick off the right of it, and a brain sucker that should be called a soul sucker for his gluttonous feast on my bloody soul stain. We did manage to figure out within a reasonable level of doubt that proximity to the enemy's initial spawn location was the culprit of thievery, which is valuable information, but also dramatically limited our choice of perishable plots. Within this tiny, disparate lawn behind the wall, we stabbed ourselves for blood bullets and hoped for a quick backhand from the brain gobbler. After countless failures to place it properly, defeated the mercy of the wolf, and simply having the cards fall into place too slowly, we finally nailed a sub 90-second run, beating out both demons and Dark Souls. Bloodborne once again proves its supremacy against new IPs in FromSoft's library, but can it sustain that lead? Sekiro has a unique death feature no other FromSoft Souls-like shares, an option to revive upon death. This resurrection comes at a cost, foregoing the bloodstained systems its peers utilize. When you die for good, you lose half your currency and experience toward your next skill point outright. For the sake of comparison, I chose to require Sekiro's resurrection state to be fully coated in grass for maximum touch. If you're familiar with the game, you'll remember the many patches of grass used for the integral stealth system. But as pedantic as my assertion that hay is not okay may be, is this really grass? They're more like tall leafy plants, so I outlawed these plentiful prairies. What really limits the run's potential is the tutorial. You don't gain access to resurrection until after Genichiro clowns on you, so the tutorial becomes a classic speedrun, one that optimally asks the player within an inch of life to hop like an Italian plumber toward the princess in the castle. The small nuances in this are hard to recognize. You don't have access to sprint, there are a dozen enemies with guns pointed at you, a single shot is deadly, sending you back to the beginning, effectively killing any attempt at speed. There's no grappling without the prosthetic, there are countless tutorial pop-ups that you need to remember the timing to mash cancel, and even skipping ledge grabs with adept parkour is a life and death situation to save mere seconds. Then dialogue in Sekiro can be skipped with a button press, but there's an odd feature that makes it slower if you pummel it like a Mario Party minigame. There's a distinct, moderate rhythm that maximizes the text scroll. Every single thing I've mentioned is vital to cut down what a roadblock this is to the real run. Now all you gotta do is piss off the resident punching bag enough to fertilize his garden with your corpse. Done with the utmost efficiency, Sekiro clocked in at nearly 3 minutes. Ironic that FromSoft's most ambitious traversal system is the slowest path to touch grass. That is, if we ignore the
Foul tarnished. In search of the Elden.
Grass.
Emboldened by the flame of
Isolation.
someone must extinguish thy
Cabin fever.
Of course, I'm only joking. There's no way this game could be slower than Sekiro, right? FromSoft's most recent epic knows how to make a world full of vegetation. The most lush and vast environments in the series' history mean there are plenty of places to lay down our sword and touch grass. Will it be the tree sentinel and his penchant for noob stomping working to our favor? Perhaps Mr. No Bitches can finally help us make love to our truest maiden. Or maybe, just maybe, the fastest path to world record success was
At my side, all along.
If we've learned anything today, following the successful blueprint set out by Dark Souls 2 is the answer to everything. Please loosely apply that advice, ignoring all consequences. That's sure to work out. In this case, it did. Opening the door after grabbing the required item and hopping to our doom perfectly placed our puddle in this paltry plane. You see, while the tutorial is designed to kill you, it wants you to die to the random bullshit go turtle that awaits. This fact is used in speedruns as you quickly bolt to the exact point of his aggro range while jumping to your doom. You really did think of everything, Miyazaki. Elden Ring remains a triumph in many ways, of which quickly touching grass is no exception. They've continued this development mastery into Armored Core 6, something I'll be covering quite soon, though a philosophical debate about whether controlling a mech that touches grass really counts is a debate for another day. I hope you all enjoyed this silly idea. If there's any challenge, no matter how odd you'd like to see me explore, I'll be keeping an eye on the comments. Any dialogue there is appreciated, as are thumbs up to satisfy the almighty algorithm. Now if you don't mind, I'm gonna go touch some real grass.